looking at the birthplace of bobsleigh, St. Moritz, Switzerland, host of the 1928 and 48 Winter Olympic Games. And today, the last stop on the World Cup Bobsleigh Series. We'll crown a champion after these competitions. Right now, Gunter Huber of Italy is our leader in total World Cup points, followed by Reto Gocci of Switzerland. Third place, Pierre Lueders of Canada. In fifth place, Brian Scheimer of the United States. All four of those 5 teams are here for the competition. It's been a long season for all the bobsledders. This is the last stop on the World Cup Series. What a place to come. St. Moritz, Switzerland. They promoted as on top of the world. We've had a good race so far. We've had 1 heat completed of 2. And as you can see, it's very tight. As expected, Reto Gocci of Switzerland's our leader. In second place, it's the Italian Gunter Huber. And in third place, it's the German Dirk Wies. Fourth place, the Canadian Chris Laurie. But the real story is teammate in 13th place, Pierre Lueders. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Right now, up at the start, it's Sandis Perusis, Andrius Polonska of Latvia. They're in 6th place at the end of the first heat. And with the snow coming down here, this is an advantage for anybody coming down as quick as they can because the snow will accumulate and they won't sweep between sleds. He's got a tight field behind him and time on the left. That's not a very good time for him at all. He's already the 5th best time down so far. He's only got about 800s to play with over the sled behind him. Now he decreases it to 4th. Here he comes into that big horseshoe corner. Now this Latvian right here, Sandis Perusis, pulled off the biggest upset of the year when he won the World Cup competition in Winterberg in 2-man way back in November. I say an upset because the Canadian Pierre Lueders had an insurmountable lead going into the heat, but this Latvian surprised him with a great second heat. Lueders made a few mistakes, and Latvia walked away with its first gold medal ever in bobsled World Cup competition. There's his finish time, not a very good time. It drops him down almost 7 places. So Perusis couldn't pull off his magic, and he lost at least 7 places. A terrible heat for Latvia. Now it's the German Sepp Dostedler. Good starting team. 5:01's the time to beat. Dostedler gets a 5:03. Only a 5:06, only a 500ths off the pace. Now that Latvian sled just came down. Probably faced the snow conditions on the track. That's good indication he didn't have any kind of runners on that could deal with the change in conditions from the first heat to the second heat. The fastest time so far in this heat is the Canadian Pierre Lueders. But Lueders had the 13th best time in the first heat, which was just disaster. I say disaster because he has to get within the top 9 positions of Reto Gocci of Switzerland to battle off and win the gold medal of this 2-man World Cup title. So it's a real head-to-head matchup between Lueders and Gocci. Lueders is down at the bottom. Gocci's yet to come. Dostedler's just finishing up here with the best time. 105.31 in that heat. He's our leader. More bobsleigh after this. Welcome back to St. Moritz, Switzerland, the birthplace of bobsleigh. World Cup Bobsleigh is brought to you by Corel, the fastest in graphics, official sponsor of the World Cup Bobsleigh Series. And the weather playing a little factor in St. Moritz. A light snow, -3 air temperature, a very firm -1 ice temperature. Good conditions for the race. And now, we're going to give you an idea what the competitors see as they go down the oldest bobsleigh track in the world. St. Moritz is 1,500 meters in length, has 16 corners. And again, it's the last natural ice surface track they use on the World Cup Bobsleigh Series. Up here in the first part of the track, lots of vibrations because it's a natural surface, not a refrigerated track. Refrigerated tracks are a lot smoother than this. This is the wall corner. Now into one of the most famous corners in the world called Sunny, a big 90-degree change of direction right. Now they call Nash and Dixon, named after the 2 famous British bobsledders who won the gold medal at the '64 games in Innsbruck. Now Horseshoe, one of the most famous corners in the world. Past Telephone, 75 miles an hour. All these English named corners reflect the English who settled St. Moritz at the turn of the century. Devil's Dyke, big 3.5 G's of force down here into tree. Now we go into bridge. Now the last part of the track. into the finish. 180-degree change of direction. The last 4 G's of force in the athletes. It's what they call the Champagne of Thrills. Now up at the top of the track, Canadian Chris Laurie. He's known the Champagne of Thrills many times in his career. His brakeman Sheridan Baptiste of Ottawa, good track and field athlete on Canada's bronze medal relay team last year at the World Championships. So Laurie, surprisingly enough, in 4th place here in the first heat. He's more of a specialist in the 4-man, has a lot more medals under his belt in his career from the 4-man competition. He's a small man, gives up time at the start. We're using a horseshoe. Nice low line. Second best split time so far in this heat. Surprised that he's in this position and his countryman Luters is way back at the end of the first heat in 13th place. But Luters has just about got a shot to win this gold medal in the 2-man overall title. But right now it's Laurie coming down, challenging the best time. He has it, 1:05.24, the best time of the heat. There's our leader, Chris Laurie of Windsor, Ontario, the heart and soul of the Canadian bobsleigh program the last 7-8 years. Now up at the top of the track, another German sled, Dirk Wies. Another 4-man specialist. He won the first World Cup 4-man event of the year in Calgary. And you don't see him driving too many bobsleigh 2-man events. But the Germans are so strong. He's got a little bit of a lead here on Laurie. Not much. Bobsledding is so close even on this track at St. Moritz. He's got a 300th of a second lead on Chris Laurie. So those times on the left are Laurie's times. And right now, Dirk Wies falling off the pace as he comes into horseshoe. Let's watch his line. Nice exit out of horseshoe. Now he's got it down to 4th place. So Wies might have got a shot out of that big hairpin corner of horseshoe. And now he's approaching the fastest part of the track, trying to get rid of some of that time, and he's real close. He's got it down to 200th of a second. Dirk Wies going for the medal. Into the finish. He's got it. Dirk Wies got that shot out of horseshoe and is atop of the leaderboard with the fastest time of the heat so far. He's guaranteed at least a bronze medal. Next up, Gunter Huber, the guy with the best eyes and hands on the bobsleigh circuit. His brakeman, Stefano Ticci's been with him a long time. 5:14 though, if there's anything that Huber doesn't do well, it's start the sled. And he won Italy's first Olympic medal in bobsleigh last year at Lillehammer. He won the bronze in the 2-man. And it was Italy's first medal since Eugenio Monti's double gold at the 60-acre Noble Olympics. He's got a 1/1600th of a second lead over Dirk Wies' sled. And we'll see how he does here in horseshoe. This is where Wies got his advantage. Oh, look at that time. He's way off the pace. Gunter Huber might not have got that acceleration off horseshoe, and he could fall back out of medal contention. It looks like he's going to do it. Gunter Huber, one of the best pilots in the world, making an uncanny mistake here at St. Moritz. 6th best time in the heat. That's going to drop him out of the medals. I say that because Gochi's the last sled yet to come, and he's our leader, and I wouldn't expect him to fall off the pace like that. So Gunter Huber, a heat he'd like to forget. Here's our leader, Reto Gochi of Switzerland. His brakeman, Guido Acklin. Silver medalist, these two guys, at last year's Winter Olympic Games in Lillehammer. And Gochi with a great start time, 5:01. Snow is starting to really fall here. We've seen some very surprising times here in this second heat. We saw the Latvian sled fall almost 4 or 5 places. We saw the Italian sled fall a couple places. And right now, Gochi is the second best time in this heat, going to the big horseshoe corner. Nice exit, smooth. Look at the rudder tips. Look at the way that head snaps on and off the corner. It's real smooth. Gochi's home track. Expect him to do this. 130 kilometers. He's approaching at the bottom part of the track. He's got the fastest time so far. Reto Gochi of Switzerland into the finish. He's got it. Switzerland, #1, Reto Gochi with the gold medal here in the last stop on this World Cup Series. But amazingly enough, Gochi's going to fall 1 point behind Pierre Luters for the overall World Cup title. Even so, The Swiss fans still love it. Their hometown heroes have picked up the last gold medal of the series. There's our leaderboard. Reto Götze of Switzerland. Surprise, Dirk Wies of Germany sneaks in second. An even bigger surprise in third is Chris Laurie of Canada. Let's go down to our winner.
Ich hatte einen optimalen Start hier. Das ist sicher die Grundlage gewesen für den Erfolg. Dann konnte ich während gut einer Woche hier trainieren.
I had a tremendous start. There was the race here, and then I had 1 week of training here, and he had 2 optimal runs at that day.
In St. Moritz.
Reto Götze celebrates with his fans for good reason. It's a good way to end the season. When we come back, though, the big sleds come out, the 4-man bobsleds in St. Moritz. The top of the world, St. Moritz, Switzerland is the way they promote it. These pictures speak for itself. On top of the track here, though, it's a different perspective for the athletes. This is the last stop on the Corel World Cup Series. The standings right now in this 4-man is very tight. Hubert Schasser of Austria is in first. The United States Scheimer is in second. Götze of Switzerland's in third. Kurt Einberg, another Austrian, in fourth. Pierre Luder's in Canada. He's 16 points back. He's got a real shot at overtaking all of them with a good performance today. Our results so far into the first heat, it's Dirk Wies of Germany in first, Götze of Switzerland in second, Pierre Luder's, the Canadians, challenging in third. We're ready for our last heat of the year. On hand to wish the competitors good luck on the last heat, Prince Albert himself came in time just for the last day. Check out USA number 2, Jim Herbrick and team. You talk about the gang that couldn't shoot straight or the Keystone Cops. Watch what happens to this American team. The driver, Herbrick, slips trying to get in. I've never seen a driver not make the sled, but there it goes. The headless horseman, the sled takes off. 2 of the crew, 3 of the crew are out now. There's only 1 guy left. Will Stolp didn't know what to do. He got in the sled like he was supposed to, and I've never seen a 4-man come down like this from the start with 1 guy in it. And Stolp makes the big note, although he puts the brakes on and digs up the track. He did stop the sled.
I'm waiting. Probably Jim let go of the push board.
Scott McElroy trying to explain to Coach Joe Kilburn what happened.
Whatever happened, Ross couldn't get in.
Well, the British were following here in the second heat. And here's the team of Mark Tout, Ward, Courtney Rumbold, and Lenny Paul on the brakes. 5 flat start time. They were in 6th place here in the first heat. Tout, he's been up there in the medals. He medaled at the first World Cup race in Calgary. He's had 2 more performances on the medal stand. 3-time Olympian for the British team. 5th at last year's Lillehammer Olympics in 4-man. Oh, they'll bang there out of the big horseshoe corner. Devil's Dyke, lots of G's of force down here. Trust me, I've been on these sleds on this track. Down to the finish, there's 4.5 G's there. Really rips the athletes' bodies. You can't take a lot of trips on this St. Moritz track. It really wears you out. Fastest time of the heat so far for Mark Tout and his British teammates. 1:03.03 puts him atop the leaderboard. Good heat for Mark Tout, but that first heat didn't help him. Here he is in the second heat. Watch him climb horseshoe. And watch the way the sled has to exit. He's really low. Look at the rudder tips over to the left-hand wall. Bang! That cost him a lot of time in the accelerating part of the track. Next up, Swiss number 2, Martin Wildhammer. Knows the track as good as anybody in the competition. Surprising to see those Swiss run by that first corner. 5:06. The proper technique is always to get in and get down before the driver has to steer the sled. Wildhammer, one of those up-and-coming Swiss pilots. With the heads moving back and forth, that's not a good sign. That means violent entries and exits off the corner. 6th best time. He's got to watch out. He's got the British down there with a good time. They can go ahead of him, plus a couple more sleds. The time we're seeing up there is the comparison towards the British, and the push bars are out. Dangerous situation. Look at the push bars. The G-forces must have pulled them out. Anybody standing inside of that track could get hurt. Looks like they might be safe, but those push bars out. Look at that. Some kind of mechanism failure there for the Swiss. And boy, they had a bad time, too. Look at that push bar. 7th best overall. He'll like to forget that, Martin Wildhammer. St. Moritz, Switzerland, the winter playground of the rich and famous, and the place where bobsleigh was born at the turn of the century. Perfect conditions on hand here today for the race. Sunny skies, perfect ice. We've seen some very fast times already. Sepp Dostetler, Germany #2, challenging for a medal. 4th place, the end of the first heat. Only got a couple hundredths on the Swiss sled that just came down. The US doesn't have to really worry about him, but that British sled, 5:04 start. Now the British had a 5 flat start. He's only got 4 hundredths on Mark Taut, a Brit. So Sepp Dostetler, former junior world champion. Another perfect example of the Germans and the Swiss. They're so deep with so many teams. Let's watch them in the big horseshoe corner. Get the rudder tips in the heads. Pretty smooth. He didn't bang there like we saw the British team. Here's where you start to approach 135, 138 kilometers an hour. They're one of the fastest bobsleigh tracks in the world. That's the time on the left he needs to take the lead. Sepp Dostetler of Germany into the finish. He's through and down. And his time of 1:03.14 is the 5th fastest time in the heat, which means he's going to drop at least 1 spot. And the British sled, driven by Mark Taut. Little perplexed look from Dostetler, and I don't blame him. Look at his run here. He looks very smooth. The heads are all behind each other. The rudder tips, perfect. Sepp Dostetler is a German pilot you're going to hear a lot about in the future. It wasn't his day today, though, because the British are now atop of the leaderboard. Our next sled from Canada, Pierre Luder, Ben Hindle, Jack Pick, Pascal Caron. One of the best starting teams in the world. They're down before that first corner. Look at that 4:94 start. Luders won the World Cup 2-man overall title, even though he finished 10th place in the 2-man. He had enough points built up on the circuit. Starting to really come on in 4-man. He hasn't been doing so well in 4-man the previous couple of years. Has never medaled in a 4-man event in Europe. He's won a couple of the events in Calgary. Smooth run. He's got a little bit of time to play with. He's got 900s to play with. That 1:03.03 is the best time in the heat so far. So anything under 1:03.12 and he'll be atop of the leaderboard. And here comes Canada. They've got it. 1:03.08 for the 3rd best time in this heat. But overall, it's the best time. Guarantees the Canadians at least a bronze medal. And that'll really give a great chance for Canada to win the overall medals, too. Now up at the top of the track, Rado Goetze, one of the best starting teams in the world also. Guido Acklin, Christian Reich, Pete Seitz, 495, only 100th off the Canadians. He's got 300ths of a second lead over the Canadian sled. He's going to need about a 1:03.11 at the bottom. And this is the silver medalist from last year's Lillehammer Olympics in 2-man competition. 3rd best time so far. Let's watch him for this exit out of the big horseshoe corner. A little bit of a bang there. Let's see if it reflects his time at the bottom. Now he finished 2nd in total points to Luders in the 2-man. And Luders, he's chasing right now here in the 4-man. So anything around a 1:03.11, he'll take the lead or better. And he does, 1:03.10. Look at that timing, 4th best time in the heat. But that puts him by 100th of a second ahead of Pierre Luders of Canada. So Rado Goetze guarantees himself at least a silver medal here on this last stop on the Corral World Cup Bobsleigh Series. There's his brakeman, Guido Acklin. So a gold medal in the 2-man. And maybe a silver or gold in the 4-man. This is where they started it, right here in the top 50 meters. Look at the way these Swiss athletes attack the sled. Swiss precision timing, Swiss precision start times is what I've always said. Look at the way they get down before that first corner. That is very precise and very quick. Here's our leader, Dirk Wies of Germany. Christian Barsch, Michael Leichmann, Wolfgang Hopp. Wies with a 2100ths lead in the first heat. 498, 400 odd. He won the four-man World Cup in Calgary. Then took a back seat while a couple more German teams participated in the World Cup, where he'd be right up there challenging for this overall World Cup title right now. But the World Cup title right now looks like it could go to Pierre Lueders in what we're seeing with the points. But right now in the horseshoe corner is Dirk Wies. He had a second place in the two-man competition here in St. Moritz. And a gold medal here would really put a message back in Germany that this is a German pilot in the future. And he's all over that time. Dirk Wies of Germany. Superior run. Into the finish, 102.93, the only man to go sub 103 in both heats. Dirk Wies, our gold medalist here in the final stop of the Corral World Cup Bobsleigh Series. Jawohl. Good way to end the season. First place, Dirk Wies of Germany. Second place, the Swiss, Reto Gocci. Pierre Lueders with a strong third place finish. We asked Dirk Wies about the difference between the Calgary victory and here in St. Moritz.
Calgary, okay, we were surprised about the first place because we haven't been there before, and St. Moritz is one of my track. I love it, and I think I drive very good here, and the start was okay today, and so I'm not surprised about the first place, but I'm very happy.
And the German team of Dirk Wies is very happy. When we come back, we'll talk to some happy Canadians about the overall World Cup titles. World Cup Bobsleigh is brought to you by Corel, the fastest in graphics, official sponsor of the World Cup Bobsleigh Series. The athletes have a chance to reflect on the past and look to the future. And the future is with Corel for bobsleigh. Dr. Mike Copeland giving away Corel draws, part of the award ceremony. And here are our Corel World Cup final results. Pierre Lueders barely beats out Reto Gocci by 1 point in the two-man. In the four-man, he narrowly beats out his teammate Chris Laurie. But in the overall combined scenario, Pierre Lueders wins it hands down. He's our Triple Crown winner, first time ever. We talked to his coach about the teamwork involved.
Can't put it in words. It's fantastic. It's what we set our goal to do, is to not only come back and show that the World Cup titles were ours last year, to come back and show that we could do it again. And I think we've done that in good style.
Now everyone sets their goals, but it takes a little work to really achieve them. What do you attribute it all to?
Hard work, no question. It's been hard work on the part of the pilots, on part of the crew members, the teamwork, right down to the sled work and on the track. It's an overall teamwork, no question.
The sun in the season is set in the sport of bobsleigh here in St. Moritz.